What up, guys? In this video, I want to talk about how to increase your charisma, as a person, as a speaker, just as a friend, as a romantic partner. I was taking notes on this for like a few weeks, and there's nothing in particular order, but I came up with a few things, some things that I observed in the people that I feel like have charisma, or things that I observed in myself when I felt like my charisma was high, you know. So it's gonna be in no particular order, but let's get to the first one, and that's that you treat everybody like a potential friend, or even a potential partner, romantically. And this basically means that when you're in society, going about your day, there are certain roles. Like, for example, there's employees, there's librarians, volunteers, there's people, strangers, your coworkers that you don't know. There's going to be a bunch of people that you run into. But a lot of people, I feel like, who don't have a lot of charisma, they just simply see these people as like just kind of strangers, just doing their job. They don't really look at them like a potential friend. So for example, when you go to the coffee shop to order your coffee, don't just think, oh, this person is like a coffee robot who just takes my order and gets the coffee, and then I grab my coffee and go. Like, you don't even think about them. All you're thinking about is that they function as somebody as a means to get your coffee to you. You don't want to think like that. You want to actually think outside the box, outside of the typical societal role of customer, employee, where you're actually gonna ask this person, oh, how's your day going? Are you doing anything fun after work? What's your favorite drink? Oh, I like that shirt, where'd you get it? That type of thing, and see if you can get a kind of conversation going. So now you've exited outside of the role of the customer, worker or customer worker, and I feel like that really ups your charisma, to just see everybody as a potential friend. Like, you can make friends with people for like 2 minutes and then never see them again, but they felt like you were, their friend. And the same is with, a woman that, let's say, you want to talk to. Maybe you only running into her for 5 minutes. Maybe you'll have the greatest 5 minutes of your life chatting with her, and you can grab her contact info after. Like, don't ever just see people as just like robots in society, like working, even when it's like bus drivers or like whatever. Like, they have a personality. You can chat with them, see if you can get anywhere with them by chatting. All right, that's number one, to increase your charisma. Treat everybody as if they're a potential friend. This leads me right to my next point. It's kind of a deeper point. It's a little bit psychological, but I feel like people with more charisma, they don't they have an understanding that in a civilized society, the average person is civilized, and what that actually means is that you're not totally afraid of strangers. Like, a lot of people, I think, operate in the way that they meet somebody through a mutual friend, and they automatically assume that person is not a predator just because they're tapped into their already existing social circle. However, when they talk to a stranger, they are afraid of them like they're some predator. You have to have the kind of logical common sense. If you're in a civilized society where there is government and the crime rate is actually not that high, the average person is not going to be a total predator. And if you start chatting with somebody like in a public space, they're not going to like take out a gun and like rob you like in the middle of the mall or something like that. Like, you don't have to be afraid of strangers. Like, you don't have to have like a stranger danger mindset. I feel like this is the case even with women. Like, if you're in the middle of a coffee shop and some dude comes to talk to you, like, in a civilized society, like, you don't really have to be that afraid in a public space. I don't know. I feel like when you don't understand that, it kind of kills your charisma because it shuts you off from chatting and connecting with people that you otherwise wouldn't connect with. And also, you're probably gonna hurt some people's feelings because there's gonna be sometimes a stranger that will come up to you and ask you for directions or ask you for something, and if you're the type of person that just cuts them off and just walks away, you're like one of those big city people. Someone tries to talk to you, you just look down and go the other way. It's hurting your sense of charisma. It's and you're hurting other people too. Like, you can at least listen to what somebody says if they're a stranger and they come up to you, and don't just deem that everybody is a predator just because you don't know them. This is going to help you talk to strangers and increase your social ability. All right, we'll get on to the next one. The next one, number 3, is about being super kind of uppity as far as like manners and like dress code and things like that. Like, if you meet somebody, let's say that is not dressed appropriately for the environment, or maybe made a faux pas, or some type of social mistake, if you get all uppity about that, like, that just kills your charisma. You don't want to be like that super rich dad who like can't have fun, like that we see in the movies. Like, if someone, if you're at the church and someone shows up to your church like rocking some pajamas, don't be like, how could they? Like, if you kind of have that mindset, it kind of kills your charisma. Like, you gotta be able to look past it and be able to just be friendly to people, regardless if maybe they're not as well mannered or something like that, or maybe they have a lot of tattoos and you don't like it, face tattoos. If you're just excluding people left and right because of their manners, or because they don't fit the attire, or they don't fit the look of the environment, this kind of kill your charisma. Like, people don't like people like that. All right, next one, number 4. I think these are all kind of stacked on top of each other and related. So this one is basically that you have the ability to, and motivation to talk to people whom you believe don't have anything to offer you. Like, this means that you can talk to homeless people, you can talk to, a woman that you deem highly unattractive, and you can spark up a conversation with her and pay attention to her and focus on her. This is gonna kick your charisma up a lot, because a lot of people just can only socialize with people they deem have something to offer them, and it just kind of hurts your charisma. And you even see this like in places where this should not be happening. Like you'll see, for example, like, I even remember, like, kind of being a kid, where like certain camp counselors would like interact with like more popular kids, or like they throw the football to the kid who was most athletic, like, every time. Like, you have to be able to like understand that you have to be able to interact with people and that you don't deem are as talented or have as much to offer you. And I think that it's gonna up your charisma a lot, especially if you're in like some leadership role, like you're the leader of a club or of a church or of your company or something, and you're just leaving people out just because they don't fit in or whatever. Like, your job is to include people. If you're in a leadership position, you got to include people, or there's gonna be people resentful against you. But even in general, when it's not in a leadership position, see who you can include that you wouldn't usually include. It's gonna up your charisma. The next one is to take interest in people's lives. When you talk to people, try to figure out what their goals are, what drives them, and then see if you can agree with them on what their goals are and what their reasons are for those goals. You could check in on them, and then you can get into, you know, their life story, and you can do this in like kind of a short amount of time. You just gotta kind of start talking to somebody. And people definitely want you to ask them like what your goals are, what your favorite thing is, what your hobbies are, things like that, and ask them to talk about, you know, their life and what they're doing. I think people like when you take interest in them, especially if you try to understand what motivates them. All right, the next one is kind of more like a psychological approach, and this is basically to talk to people as if you've known them for years. It's kind of more of like a mindset, but you kind of just got to let your body flow and have the body language and tone, and like you've known them for years. Like you could even walk up to somebody who you don't even know and just be like, hey, how have you been? I mean, that's a little crazy, but you know, but that type of mindset, like, hey, how have you been? Like as if you already know them. You know, I remember I was chatting with this girl not that long ago who I ran into, and she started asking me, do I know you? Like she felt like, she kind of felt like I was chatting with her as if I know her. It's actually happened multiple times. So like just jump right in like you already know them, and that's gonna up your charisma a lot. I remember reading that somewhere. I don't remember who it was, but someone said that, and I've been using it. I'm gonna split this, or name this next topic, you know, basically passion. And this is basically when you have some type of special interest, and you love to talk about it. Could be a movie, it could be anything. Even if it's, the more unique the better. If it's nerdy, you know, if you like collecting bugs, or collecting antiques, or photography, or reading books, reading comic books, if you have some sort of special interest, it really gives you like some flavor. Like, I mean, I guess that makes sense to your personality, especially if it's something that people wouldn't typically be willing to admit, like because they feel like it's nerdy, like they like reading or analyzing movies, or acting in a drama club, being part of a public speaking club, something like that. I think this will really up your charisma, because a lot of people have secret hobbies and they want people to talk about it too. You can also, it makes you come off as confident, especially if your special interest is kind of nerdy or kind of eccentric. And then the next thing about passion, I would say, and this is basically where you are not do not be like a Debbie Downer about like your major if you're studying, or your job. Like, find something exciting about it. It is very relatable to, you know, dislike what you do also. That can also increase your charisma. But if you're somebody who actually has no fear to engage in class, you know, to raise your hand and to actually have passion about the topic, or to stay after school and talk to your teacher because you're interested in the topic, that really ups your charisma. Because so many people are just afraid. A lot of kids try to play total cool guy. You know, they don't want to be, oh, I don't like school, my parents sent me here, like, but yet it's like for one, it's, if they do like that major, then they should talk about it. But if they don't like that major that they're studying, maybe they shouldn't be there, or they need to find something to be passionate about it for. Or if you do want to be super vulnerable and your parents did force you to go there, just plain out say that, you know. But you don't have to be like, I don't know, try to play a cool guy. Oh, I don't like education, you know, just here for the parties at the school. Like, it's okay to be a nerd, man. There ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being a nerd. Being a nerd makes you eccentric. It makes you cool. It makes you different. if you're intellectual, that's good. I actually was reading this study not that long ago. I think it said reading books and studying languages were the two most attractive hobbies that a man can have. This was like statistic, through surveys. And the other thing too is like, even if you work like a minimum wage job, but you show some passion in what you do have, you show passion to your customers. Oh, I really like this product. I really like this. Oh, you're gonna love this. Let me do this for you. Like, let me, help you in this certain type of way at your work. Whether it's helping get an item for them, being passionate, even if your pay is low. Because a lot of people just don't have a good attitude. They don't care about their company. They don't care about company culture. If you're passionate about your company, even if you get paid low, or even if you get paid high, it really shows like you just have like a joy for life, and this passion can come out anywhere. If you're on a tour guide, like in a museum or something like that, maybe be that person that raised your hand to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Like, don't be afraid to be curious. It's not like so naive just to be curious, or you don't have to act like I'm an adult, I can't be passionate about like asking questions, I can't be curious. I guess that leads to another one, is keep your curiosity going. When you lose your curiosity, a lot of people do, I think, when they grow out of childhood, they lose their curiosity, and I feel like that kills their charisma as well. Like, you gotta be curious in life. Ask questions, ask people questions, wanna know more. Look at everything and try to see if you can see it in a different way. Yeah. All right.